Welcome back to Hot Flashbacks. I'm your host, Molly Ward, and today is the best day of my life because today I'm going to spend some quality time with my best friend, P. P, holler at your fans.
Hello, Hot Flashbackers.
Okay, that's enough. We've never said that before. Hot Flashbackers.
Well, what do you call your fans?
I don't know. We're going to edit that. Peeps is here to answer all of your burning questions about being old as shit. Right, P?
I'm going to be an expert at this.
Yeah, you're going to be so good. And I'm also going to answer. So we're going to give this a go. I posted on my Instagram to everybody and I said, ask me all of your questions and I'm going to have an expert answer them. And by expert,
you might have lied.
And by expert, I meant to say amateur. And so that's us. Do you feel prepared?
I'm ready.
Okay.
I'm good at talking. So,
Yeah, that's one way to look at it.
Yep.
I like that your answer wasn't, yeah, I'm smart, I can do this. Your answer was just like, I'm good at moving my mouth and making sounds come out. Okay.
Well, and I do know some stuff about getting old because I am now 44. That's,
ouch. 44.
Closer. Yeah, 44. Mm-hmm.
And how does it feel?
Well, I don't know. I'll let you know when I turn 45 and I need a colonoscopy. I'll give you very detailed description of how it feels.
Okay. I don't want to know how a colonoscopy feels, though, to be clear. Okay. Yeah, don't share that with me. I don't think it could be as bad as people say it is.
Well, I think people say that the preparation is the bad part because you have to spend all day on the toilet. But the actual thing, you're unconscious. You don't feel it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think it's the preparation. You have to drink this stuff that makes you shit your brains out.
Well, now everybody knows. I mean, I don't think it was a secret, but I heard this stuff is pink. You gotta drink
I don't know about that.
Okay.
But I was thinking about this because I was thinking like, gosh, that must have been bad. Like, because now, like, I could, like, bring my phone in there and listen to a book on tape or watch a show or, like, I have entertainment options if I have to spend all day on the toilet. But in the olden days, they didn't have that.
Olden days. In the olden days, they probably didn't stick a camera up your butthole either, so.
Right? See, technology is amazing.
I love how you were thinking that, like, well, they weren't smart enough to have phones or magazines. What did people do before their colonoscopy? Well, they didn't have one. Their doctor just stuck their finger up their butt and called it good.
Oh my gosh. I got to tell you, one time I had that happen.
No, don't. Oh,
I was in third grade and I still remember it vividly.
Okay, this sounds like something you should talk to your therapist about, not something that we should be addressing on this show. It's just sounding really personal. Okay, are you ready to get to the questions?
I'm ready. Yeah, I want to know what the people want to know.
Okay, I have not fully read these. Oh gosh. Okay. The first question is happening in real time. My knees sound like a bag of chips when I walk. Is this normal? Did you send this in, P? Did you submit a question?
I did consider submitting a bunch of questions just for fun, but I didn't.
No, because then you knew you could answer them. Is that
right? Yeah, I thought
so.
Deck a little.
It says my knees sound like a bag of chips when I walk. Is this normal? And what's the best way to pretend I do not hear it?
I recommend headphones. I'm often just wearing headphones when I walk around, so I guess I don't know if my knees sound like a bag of chips.
It's actually, yeah. So denial is what you're recommending to the people. Okay.
I mean, if you don't want to have knee surgery, the alternative is denial.
Yeah. So do you think it's normal for your knees to make those sounds at this age?
I mean, I would see a doctor.
Okay.
I would like to rule out that there's nothing they can do to I think what happens right is your cartilage gets thinner. And so then depending on how much you
I just want to be really clear that you understand there's not actually chips in the person's knee. Do you?
Yes, okay. I do understand that. Yes.
All right. Making sure that we're on the same page here. Okay, continue. Yeah.
I think it'd be worth asking your doctor about. I wouldn't pay an extra copay, but I would ask at my annual checkup.
I wouldn't pay an extra copay.
Well, a lot of stuff creaks as you get older, so it might be normal.
Yeah, that's true. For me, it's normal. Yeah.
Your knees sound...
They are crackly for sure. And one way to pretend that you don't hear it is to just not do a lot of moving.
Okay. I guess that's the thing.
Yeah. I only notice it a lot.
We don't know how that works out for the rest of your body, but...
Well, true. I only notice it a lot when I'm like squatting or bending down. Like if I like squat, then I can really hear it. And I went to the doctor... it's probably been 5 or 6 years now. And they said, well, let's do an MRI or an X-ray. I think I just got an X-ray. And he was like, oh, okay, yeah. So here's the situation. You have arthritis in both your knees. And I was like, dang. Okay. He's like, it's genetic. There's really not a lot you can do about it. But, at some point it'll hurt too bad. And then you can just come back and see me and get new knees. So, yeah. So I would have to say that my advice would be, if it's not painful, just roll with it. It's just part of aging. But if it hurts, go see somebody.
That's probably good advice. I don't have the knee crunching, but my ankles make a lot of noise.
Really?
Like if I move my ankles at all, it's like...
Like when you're walking?
No, like if I'm just sitting and I'm like, maybe I'm like flexing them or, rolling them around. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So you're sitting. I'm trying to picture. Yeah. So you're sitting and you're just kind of rolling your ankles.
And you just like move your feet up and down or like, stretching yourself out. And I just hear like pop, 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 pop from my ankles.
Pop, pop, pop. Is that it?
Yeah.
Was that the sound? Okay.
Similar.
Similar. Okay. So we've decided then that weird joint noises are totally acceptable at our age.
Pretty normal. Right? Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Okay.
Whew. We cleared that one.
Yes. We're good at this.
So yeah, we should stop now. We gave this like...
Probably. People would probably appreciate that more.
We have to remember these people are voluntarily listening to us.
That's true. They want this. This is what they came here for.
This is what the people asked for. So we're going to give it to them. Okay. What's the best way to explain to my kids that I'm not old, but I also don't understand TikTok?
Well, the hard part is...
You are old. That's the hard part, is that you are old.
And you really kind of back yourself into a corner because I'll say things like, when I get up, I'm like kind of creaky at first. Like, especially if people see me like just standing up, they'll say like, oh, did you hurt yourself? Why are you limping? And I'll be like, oh, no, that's just from standing up. It just takes a minute to, And so I'll say things like, oh, I'm an old lady. And so then my kids will repeat that to me. And I'm like, why are you calling me old? They're like, you say it, lady. So one, don't call yourself old in front of your kids or they will pick up on it. And I fully understand TikTok. In fact, I fully understand TikTok to the point where I had to delete it from my phone in November because I was fully addicted to TikTok because they have the best algorithm of any social media. But I confessed last night, I was trying to do something on the TV where you were logging in and it comes up with a QR code. And I was going to watch this movie with a friend. And I admitted to her, my friend Jen, hello, shout out Jen if you're listening, that I used to think until a few weeks ago that you had to go up to the TV with your phone to scan the QR code, that you couldn't do it from your seat. So I used to think, why are people putting QR codes on billboards? How are people getting that close?
How are people getting that close? That's why they always have graffiti on billboards. They're just getting up there to scan the QR code and then tag it.
And they're like, oh, I'll do a little tag while I'm here.
Obviously.
So my life has changed greatly now that I know this, that you can do the QR code from far away.
So let me just to clarify. You thought that you had to open up your camera and walk up to the TV and like tap it, or what was happening when you got close to the TV?
I just thought that I had to like have the camera right, like almost on top of the QR code.
Okay. Oh,
so anyways, public service message for anyone else who might believe this. You do not. You can just do it from really far away.
Yeah. As a matter of fact, you can even zoom in.
Yes, also.
If you need to, from a seated position. It's wild the things you can do sitting down, isn't it?
I know. This is what I love about it. Especially if you've sat down and you're getting ready to watch a movie and then, you're not logged in. Oh, you got to get back up. Now you don't. It's really changing my life.
So I understand TikTok because I don't think there's anything to understand. No offense to the person who sent in the question. There's nothing to understand about TikTok. It's just videos, right?
I think maybe what they're saying is the trends. Like there's these things that trend on TikTok and they're like so popular for like 3 or 4 days, but then the cycle changes. So she's saying she's not old, but maybe she doesn't understand like their references, right?
Okay. So I'm even too old to understand the question, apparently. It's just, you had to provide me context. I don't have a TikTok, but you know what I do have that I don't understand? Discord.
Oh, I don't have that. I've never even seen it.
Oh, mercy. It's like...
Who do you talk to on there? Like, what do you look at?
Well, don't get in my business.
Change me nosy.
So my roller derby league moved away from Facebook for political and social reasons. And we used to use Facebook chat as a way to have different groups and different pages. And we'd use Facebook to have groups where we could communicate. And that was kind of our main method. And we've since moved to Discord, which I think started as an app or a website where people would talk while they game.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
I don't know what it is about it. It drives me crazy. I don't understand. There's threads and there's all these different hashtags and it makes me feel old. I mean, I'm using it and I think I'm doing it right, but it just makes me feel old. It's too much for me.
Too much to follow.
Too much to follow. Yeah. So I think that you're right. Don't say you're old in front of your kids and then they won't think you're old.
I've already made the mistake, and kids also, they never forget anything. You can say it one time and they will remember it forever. Especially if you use bad words, they will remember it forever.
Yeah. So call yourself beautiful and young.
Oh, that's so sweet.
And I wasn't talking to you. It was to our listeners.
But it'd be sweet if my kids were saying, you're beautiful.
See? So like, I'm going to call myself skinny and beautiful and young, and then maybe the kids will pick up on it.
Don't forget rich.
Right. Rich. I think they know we're not rich.
They got onto that one.
Yeah, there's no confusion there. Okay, this question. I actually feel kind of young reading the questions. So, because some of these things I feel like, okay. Is it too late to start a new career? I feel stuck, but I'm also terrified and extremely comfortable in my job.
No, it's never too late to start something new and to learn something new. There's this thing that goes around on the interwebs occasionally, and it talks about how like all these people, like, really famous people didn't have their first big break, and then it shows their age. Have you seen this? It's like a meme, I mean, it's really inspiring. I can't really remember. The only one I can remember right now is J.K. Rowling, and I don't want to bring up a controversial subject of J.K. Rowling. But anyway, so it's all these really successful people, and it's like in their 40s, in their 50s, in their 60s is when they first had their big break. And so I think it's never too late to change your career. And also, like, there's so much opportunity now to do things like, well, I lost my train of thought because I'm old, but yeah, I mean, I don't think it's too late. Is my answer.
I was watching you thinking, she doesn't know what she's going to say. She forgot.
No, I can see it in your eye. It's been a long day. It's been a long day.
That's okay. I think that
I'm really trying to make that stick.
It is really overwhelming to start a new career. It's even overwhelming to start a new job later in life, but a new career late in life. I think you're right. You're never too old. And I feel like sometimes that could be really fun. Like it might kind of like put the excitement back into my work life if I was doing something different. And sometimes when you get really good at your job and you've done it for a while, that can be a really comfortable place to be. But at times it can also feel kind of like a lull. And so, yeah, I think it's never too late to start a new career, but you have to make sure that your family is supportive of that, because I think it takes more time and more energy when you do something new. And so just making sure that you have the support of your family to do that, because it might take you away from home more, or like longer days. That's what I always think of when I think of getting a new job. I'm like, oh, I'm going to have to work so long. Because when I first start a job, it's like I'm, working 10-hour days trying to prove myself and figure out what I need to do and get really good so that things get easier, because they do get easier when you have done it for a while. But I think the beginning is the rough part.
Yeah, there's a huge learning curve to something new. So you just have to like analyze your life and see if you're like in a place where that learning curve fits into your day-to-day life. And I think maybe because I think I've talked about this even on here before, that I have kind of thought about starting a new career, or starting a sort of what I would call like my second act, or something I want to do like when I'm closer to my retirement age. And I'm sort of in the middle of that, but it's to be honest, it's difficult, right? Like when I started 3 years ago, I thought I had the time, I thought I had the money, and circumstances change, and I have less time and I have less money. And so I don't know how feasible that specifically for me is, but it doesn't mean that I don't think it's possible for anyone to do it. And like I said, I'm kind of in the messy middle of it. So that's why I don't have a lot of good advice.
Yeah. I could understand why someone would be nervous or scared to do that. And you're right. Sometimes you think you have the time and it seems like a good time, but life happens fast and all of a sudden everything can be different. So something to think about. This question, have you had a midlife crisis? That's the gist of it. Have you had a midlife crisis moment that turned out to be really positive? Have you had a midlife crisis yet, P?
I don't think so. Probably the closest is this idea of like looking at weighing the options about a new direction, or, like a totally, not even just a new job, but a totally different field. That's probably the closest I've come. I mean, I haven't bought a sports car or, done anything like that. But I think also we talked about on the episode where we talked about how like we're not as motivated as we used to be like, hashtag boss bitches or whatever. Like that is sort of the way that maybe women have midlife crisis, where they sort of realign their priorities. So I guess in that sense, I've definitely like realized I've sort of like taken where work was on my priority list and put that lower than like where family and fun is. And so, it didn't look quite crisisy, but I guess I've sort of realigned some priorities. Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like midlife crisis is something we often attribute to men having. And so I don't really know what it looks like for a woman to have a midlife crisis when I think about it. But according to the internet, there's a number of things that can cause a woman to have a midlife crisis. Among the list of reasons, menopause, so hormonal changes, can contribute. Empty nest syndrome, so I guess the departure of children from the home can leave women feeling like a loss of self or a loss of identity, not knowing who you are if you're not a mom taking care of kids, which makes sense and I understand. Physical changes, so your body changing can lead to a sense of loss of youth or that you're not attractive anymore, which can cause women to feel like they're in a crisis. And then on the list also is career changes, existential questions, so like contemplating the meaning of life, which can be pretty common in your 40s because you're like halfway there. That's really sad to say. I know. I just saw your face. You gave me a frown. I know. Sorry, it's really dark, but and then stressful life events and major life events like divorce, illness, financial hardship. But the big one is existential questions, which can lead people just in general to feeling like trying to understand the meaning of life or their own mortality, which can sometimes lead to making rash decisions. They say that for women, a midlife crisis often feels like feeling unfulfilled or bored, mood swings, loss of interest in hobbies, reckless behavior, questioning of your relationships and your career. I think I have all those things. Maybe I'm having a midlife crisis.
You might be in it.
And I didn't even know.
Don't know. You're having it right now.
I'm having it.
Okay. So yeah, it is very interesting because some of that feels like chicken or the egg, right? Because I've started noticing like more people as their kids get older, like that's when you start to see people in your sphere like getting a divorce or having a relationship change. And you're like, is that the result of a midlife crisis or is that the midlife crisis? You know, so it's like, I don't know. Some of those things feel like they might be more the cause than, I don't know. It's very interesting.
Yeah. And kids leaving home is a pretty common time for people to have a relationship change. You know, maybe something someone wanted years ago and just didn't want to do because their kids were there, or maybe the kids left and everything changed in their relationship, or nothing changed in their relationship, right?
Right. Or you had time to think about other parts of your life, like your career, your relationship, before you were like just focused on like, okay, let's get through this. Let's get these kids launched into the world. And yeah.
Let's get these kids launched. I was thinking about that episode of Modern Family where they launched the pumpkins to see how far they can. Never mind. Okay.
Yeah, I don't think I've seen that.
Okay. Yeah, evidently not. So you need to up your game. But you're right. And I think also when your kids leave, and obviously neither of us know because neither of us are empty nesters, I will be in like...
And I'm so far.
You're so far. And I'm going to remind you of it every day. It's like, I only have like 2.5 years, really.
Yeah.
But I also think that I could see that when you're raising children, you spend so much time focusing on them that you're not as focused on yourself. And as they get older / move out and you don't have them to focus on, you start looking internally. And when you start looking internally, you might realize that your cup isn't full and that your relationship isn't filling your cup anymore. You know what I mean?
Right. Or your job or your friends or yeah. So yeah, I can totally see how that happens to people. I wonder how you like safeguard against that. I mean, obviously like just like how any sort of crisis or switch in your life, you safeguard against it by like being emotionally and mentally healthy and analyzing things and having conversations and communication. And I also just wonder like if even sort of knowing that is helpful of like, okay, this is what might happen.
I think so. I mean, I think like with anything else, if you're prepared for the fact that your relationship will look different when you don't have children to raise anymore, it probably, just like anything else, that kind of change when you know it's coming probably makes it easier to manage when you can think about what are the things that I'll need to do differently or how can I better prepare for that. And so I think as like for me, thinking about as the kids get older, you can start to create some distance between you and them, and teenagers want that anyway. So how can I start to take care of me a little bit now? What are the things I want to do to create my own life and my own hobbies and my own interests and honor those while still taking care of them so that when they're gone, I've at least kind of started that process. And I'm not just like sitting here like feeling like I don't have anything to do or a reason to be here.
Yeah, that makes sense. That's something that has been, I'm going to say, I think I'm going to be pretty good at that because it's been like really important to me my entire parenting journey. Even before I had kids, I was like, I see people, you know, in the world or in my orbit who have like totally lost themselves in this, you know, which it's hard not to. So no shame, no judgment. But that was like my one thing. I was like, if I'm going to have kids, I'm going to make sure not to totally lose myself. And so I've just been really conscious of that. I don't think it's too late to start that.
Yeah, but I think it requires the support of your partner to do that, right?
Absolutely.
And also, some people don't have the time, depending on what their partner's career is. They may not have the time to be able to do those things. And I also think that some children are probably more demanding than others in terms of the amount of time that you need to spend with them or the things that they need. I think you're probably dealing with a little bit of that.
So much of that, yes.
Yeah.
So much because I have I have 2 boys and they both have some special needs. One's dyslexic, one's autistic. And so it at this time where they're now almost 7 and 9, where I thought, oh, okay, I can see with the older one, like, oh, this is starting to really be less time consuming or be less all consuming, where I can see that sort of light. I can tell that that's not going to be the case for my younger child. And yeah, that does change the way your life looks or your energy. I mean, it's hard. I do a pretty good job, but it's hard occasionally not to be like, oh man, this is hard. This is harder than I thought. Or, and you see it being easier for other people. And, that's always that, whatever they say, isn't the comparison's the thief of joy or something. So I try not to do that, but yeah, I'm definitely experiencing that myself.
Yeah, I feel that. I've noticed that in conversations that we've had where it's like, you have these ideas and these plans for yourself, but sometimes your kids need you more during certain times than you expected, or will continue to need you in a way that you weren't necessarily ready for, but have to adjust to.
Yeah, like even wrapping your head around, you hear from your parents or people, everyone makes that sort of funny joke, that glib joke of like, oh, well, you'll be living here for 18 years and then you're going to be, and for many reasons, right? Not just like special needs, but just the economy and all that. Like that's very rarely happening for people these days, right? Like an 18-year-old can't afford really to go live on their own, even if they have no special needs and they have so yeah, I mean, I'm already starting to adjust that, even though I'm like, over 10 years away from that. I'm already like, okay, so it isn't, not that I thought it was just 18 years, but it's not just 18 years. It's going to go beyond that. Like I'm going to be helping these kids launch until well into their 20s probably. And, that's tough, but we really took this question way down a rabbit hole. No, I don't even remember the original question.
Well, you're not in charge of the show, so it's okay. You don't have to. You just sit there and twirl your hair like you're doing. You just sit there and look pretty, and I'll take care of the rest. What are your best tips for staying motivated to exercise when your body complains about everything you do? They're asking the wrong person because Same. As we just discussed the many ways in which we can sit and scan the QR code without having to get up, I think you're asking the wrong question. Well, you're asking the wrong person. You're asking the right question, by the way. That is a good question.
Good question. Yeah.
I will say that actually, when they mention sort of like, how do you stay motivated when your body complains about everything? I get that. It's like you wake up the next day and you're sore or you've got a bruise and you're like, why is everything so hard? So I think to myself, like, I didn't know adulting was going to be so damn difficult and exhausting, but here I am. That is the motivation though for me, is that if I do wake up and feel like I overdid it or I'm sore or I'm tired, then I feel like I have to keep going so that when I'm older, I can do like very normal things and not feel sore or tired or injured. It doesn't work every day, right? Like the motivation isn't there every day all the time. But I will say one of the biggest tips for me is to find people to do things with, because it's also a way to socialize. And that has been really helpful for me, whether I'm going on a hike with friends or I'm going to play pickleball or I'm going to play basketball or I'm going to roller skate. Most of the things that I do to take care of my body and just kind of stay busy has been because I do it with friends. And that really helps. And it gives me a reason and some accountability. They also asked if we found a workout that we enjoy. Sex is a workout, just for anybody who didn't know that. And if it's not, you're not doing it right. Peeps, why are you laughing, but like on mute? So I feel like I'm laughing alone at myself.
I am laughing on mute because my children, who are supposed to be in bed, have infiltrated the room. Oh, okay. So I didn't want the background noise of them to be on. So yes, I apologize.
And you didn't want them to hear me say sex?
No, they're fine to hear sex.
Okay.
Sex.
So back to the question. the motivation for me is that if I am sore or if I do have bruises, that I need to keep working so that doesn't happen.
Well, I gotta say, I don't know what kind of exercise you're doing. I've never received a bruise from exercising, so I'm not really sure what you're doing.
That was in relation to the sex, actually.
The bruises are from sex.
Yeah, I'm just kidding.
Okay. I don't know.
Well, I often have bruises because I have ADD. And so what happens is I hurt myself often because I'm careless and I don't recognize why I've hurt myself or how I've hurt myself until later when I have like a giant bruise on my leg and have to think back, like, what did I do? Oh, that's right. I ran into the dishwasher. So it's generally from me being an idiot, but whatever.
Okay. So not exercise, just living life. It's just bruising you.
Shut up. I call it exercise.
Like your point about doing something with a friend is such a perfect thing because one, obviously, like when you're older, like you're our age, we're often like very busy, right? We're that sandwich generation where you're taking care of children, but you're also taking care of your, parents possibly, or like, so, and you have a job. And so like, we're really busy. And so if you can like multitask where it's like socializing and exercising, like there's nothing better. And also I read this thing and I've seen it a couple times since then about how like walking with a friend is like the absolute best thing for both your mental and physical health. Like walking is like a super exercise and I love to walk. So I like that about it. And I always try to do that. Like on every Wednesday night, I go for a walk with some of my neighbors after the kids go to bed. And then on the weekends, I have another friend who I try to walk with. So that really helps. I do like walking alone too, because I like listening to like audiobooks and that kind of thing. But walking with a friend, like you don't ever feel better. Like, and Wednesday nights are hard because it's like, it's dark and it's cold but it's like, I never regret going. So I think that's the thing is like, you might not have the motivation, but once you just do it, you're going to be happy you did it. Those endorphins, baby.
Endorphins for the win.
Endorphins.
Yeah.
Get the endorphins.
I need to skip to the next question immediately because if you can't answer this, I'm going to answer it for you.
We can't wait.
Okay. What's the most embarrassing aging moment you have had so far?
Oh, wow. Well, I don't know what you have in mind, but what have I know.
I've got a few, but you go right ahead.
I peed my pants at Walgreens once, waiting for the person to come unlock the bathroom. This was like 18 months ago.
Okay.
It was really embarrassing. Okay. It wasn't just a little dribble.
Please.
It was a full thing.
Can you please tell the full story, though? I think that this is it. It's necessary.
Okay, so I was coming home. I had taken my kids to swim lessons, and I had to go to the bathroom really bad, but I was like, I'll be fine. This Walgreens that I mentioned is 2 blocks from my house. This is how close I was to my house.
So you're like, I'm an adult. I can wait. I'm an adult.
Yeah, exactly.
I can hold it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right. That's what we've seen.
Yeah.
So we're driving, and my kid, who has just potty trained and is still at that phase where, like, as soon as they say they have to go, like, you got to find a bathroom, says, I have to go to the bathroom. And I was like, oh, right now, we're 2 blocks from home. No, I have to go immediately. Okay, great. So I'm like, all right, we're going to stop at this Walgreens. We go in there. We go right up to the counter because I know the bathroom is locked. And so I say, can someone unlock the bathroom? They're like, yep, we'll send someone over there. So we're standing, waiting for the bathroom. The kid is doing just fine. I am now I cannot hold it any longer. And then I do not. And then we get into the bathroom and it was just a disaster. And then I had like 2 things I had to buy. And I was like, look, I'm already here. Everyone can see that I peed my pants. I just went up to the register and bought my things and got back in the
car. Okay, wait. So first of all, I love that you knew this Walgreens bathroom well enough to know that it's locked and you have to get a code or something, right? So you already knew that.
Well, I know a lot of public bathrooms.
Yeah, you do. You're a fan. Yeah.
I am. I used to joke that I should make a coffee table book about public bathrooms across the country about where the best ones were.
I think I would read it.
Yeah, I mean, it'd be fun, right?
Yeah.
It's
funny. So anyways, let me get this straight. You peed your pants. They're wet. Are you wearing jeans or what's
like jeans, like full on just regular jeans?
Okay. Yep. And so it's obvious. They're also cold.
It's very obvious.
Probably.
Yeah.
And
it's not comfy.
Stiff, not comfy. You're probably going to get some sort of rash or dermatitis or something from this. And you proceed to be like, what do I need while I'm here? Let me check my list.
Well, I mean, as I mentioned, I'm a busy person. I'm already in the store. I needed to grab like 2 things, like some cough drops and something else. So I was just like, you know what? Nobody else was in the store except the people who worked there. The people who worked there clearly knew I already peed my pants. So I was like, well, I'm just going to buy these things.
Okay, now walk me through the moment. It just, you couldn't stop? Or like, what happened here?
No,
okay.
I'm old. My bladder is old.
So then what'd you do? You stood there? Or you squat? Or like what?
It wasn't like a decision. I didn't make a decision. It wasn't like, okay, I guess I'm just going to pee. It was like, it just happened. And I just was shocked. I stood there in shock.
I want everyone to know that I was very well aware of this moment because you called me to let me know immediately. So in fact, one time I was on the phone with you and your son was in the back seat and he was like, I have to poop. And you're like, okay, I'm on the phone. And he was like, I have to poop. And you're like, okay, but can we wait? And he's like, no, I have to poop right now. And you're like, okay. And you're like, Molly, I think I need to get off the phone. And he's like, it's coming. And you were like, oh God, he's pooping in the back seat. I gotta go. Do you remember that?
I do. And we went into a Burger King where I knew where the bathroom was. We used the bathroom.
Oh God. Did he poop in the seat?
I know where all the bathrooms are. And I know especially some Burger Kings and McDonald's, there's a side door that's closer to the bathroom so you don't even have to see the people. So they know you're only there to use the bathroom.
It's like a private entrance for frequent users. Nice. Okay.
Exactly. Well, it's embarrassing when you come in and they think you're going to order, but you're really just there to use the bathroom. So. Yeah.
So that's your embarrassing moment, huh?
That was pretty embarrassing and I felt pretty old. But honestly, as a side note for the parents out there, it ended up working really well in my favor because I could say to my kid later, who was kind of struggling with the potty, hey, look, everyone has accidents, even mommy. And they remind me, so that part was good. The bad part is they still to this day, 18 months later, say, remember that time you peed your pants so hungry?
So the silver lining here is that your children now think that it's going to be socially acceptable for them to pee their pants well into their 40s. Is that what you're teaching them?
No, that I'm teaching them that, it's okay to make mistakes. You just get back up and get back on the horse, so to speak.
Or just get back up and get some cough drops and some vitamins and call it a day, right? Just, oh, good.
What went through my mind that I decided to still shop? I don't know. I mean, I wasn't even planning on shopping. I was planning on driving by.
You're like, well, I'm here. I think I need some Twizzlers, a Diet Pepsi, and some vitamin D. Okay, good. Look at you.
Okay, what's your most embarrassing?
Oh,
wait, is that the moment you expected me to share? Since you said you had a few in mind.
Well, I did have some other ones, but...
Okay, you can keep them to yourself.
Okay.
We'll save those for another podcast.
All right, it's noted. We don't want the episode to be too long. Right. I do think that the first time that I found myself stretching in public felt really... Like I didn't know I was doing it. And then I realized I was kind of like up against the display in like a Target, like, holding onto the display and kind of like, getting my calves a good little stretch there because I was feeling kind of tired. And I didn't think much of it until somebody saw me. And then I thought to myself, it is probably not a thing young people do to just stop and stretch.
No.
Yeah.
Although, you know what? It might be a thing that elite athletes do. So maybe they thought you were an elite athlete, not an old person.
They did ask me for my autograph. So. Yeah. I can't really think of, and I mean, everything pales in comparison to wetting yourself. There's nothing.
I know. I'm trying to steal the thunder on that.
You really did. I should have gone first. So, most embarrassing aging moment, you win if this is a contest.
Okay. I like winning, so.
Okay, good. Okay, let's scan for a good one here. What's the one thing you wish you'd known about your 40s when you were in your 20s?
I mean, I feel like I so wish I would know how much more confident and calm, less anxious, like just how much more fun it is than you think it's going to be. Like, I like being older. Like, I just, the I don't give a fuck attitude is amazing. I cared so much what people thought in my 20s. And I just wish
just to be clear, you peed your pants in your 20s too, because I was there for it. So
I was more embarrassed about it then.
More embarrassed in your 20s. Okay. So you wish that when you were 20, you would have known that being 40 would feel so free?
Yeah, that things are going to get easier. You're not always going to feel like this, like, constant tension about, like, you know, who you are or who you're presenting to the world or what, like, all of those things. And it's just like that wisdom really does come with age. And that's a really nice feeling to feel like you have a little wisdom.
Yeah. I don't know that that's what I would say. But
okay, what would you say?
Actually, I know that this is probably kind of the opposite of what you just said and maybe really negative. But I wish that I would have known how hard life was going to be. I feel like I kind of romanticized being an adult and thought, like, you know, all the cliches, like I could have, you know, ice cream for breakfast and I could stay up as late as I want and sort of and also that I would have all this money. I also thought I would have all this money. Like, I didn't realize that, because I think in college and in graduate school, it felt like I lived on so little that I thought, wow, all I have in my bank account right now is a student loan and like some money from my grad assistantship. And I somehow made it through the year. Imagine what it's going to be like when I make $35,000. Like, I just thought,
yeah,
I think that my perception of my future wealth was very skewed.
Well, I don't think that's just you. I mean, this is a whole other tangent, right? Of like, I think that was more the case when we were in our 20s, that's what our parents and grandparents had promised us. And that is how their life went. Our life is just different because the economy and the you know, political climate, all that has changed to the point where, like, it's not like, I feel like I was told all I need is a college degree and you're going to be really successful and have everything you need. And like, that's just not true anymore. But it was true at one point, I guess, allegedly.
Yeah. Allegedly, 25 years ago.
That is a good one. Yeah, I mean, I don't think that's super negative. That's true. I do also wish I knew that, like, it's not like, oh, you're going to finish college and then, like, be living on easy straight. Like, yeah, there's a lot of challenges to grown-up life.
Yeah, and I try to tell Aaron and Jackson that often, not in a way that's really negative, but in a way that's like, hey, suck it up, because it's not, and because I do think that I had this idea about what my life was going to be like, and it's not that I'm disappointed or that I'm struggling, but it is that there's always something. There's always something, and I just don't think that I understood. Also, maybe I didn't understand how hard my parents were working and how much it is to balance everything. And I guess I don't know that you can tell a 20-year-old that in a way that they would understand, right? But now I think back about what I thought being 40 was going to be like. And when I take away kind of the feeling old or that, like, what I might dress like and how I might wear like orthopedic sneakers every day, Peeps.
Same.
I'm talking about you. I think that I thought that things were just going to come a lot easier. And there is a basketball coach. She coaches for, I think, Duke. And she said something, it's been probably a year now, in one of her speeches to her players that kind of went viral. And she said, you know, don't sit around waiting for things to get easier. You know, you think, oh, well, I'll go back to school next year when things slow down, and I'll apply for a better job, you know, in 6 months when things get easier, and that eventually things are going to get easier. But she said this, it's not true. Things don't get easier. you just get better at handling hard. And I think that's really good perspective in a way that's not too negative. Is just that life doesn't get easier as you get older. It does keep getting harder, and you just get better at handling hard things. And the truth is, I think about the things I've handled at my age now. My 20-year-old self could have never handled some of the things life has thrown at me, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, that's great. So it's kind of like maybe the thing you would tell yourself is like, you can handle it. You're going to be able to handle it more. You're going to be able to handle way more than you think. And the downside of that is that you're going to have more opportunities to test that muscle or whatever.
Yeah, don't tell me what to tell myself, okay? what I'm going to tell myself is that, I can do hard things. I think I wish that I would have known when I was 20 that I was capable of doing hard things and being okay. Because when you're 20, it feels like you don't know if you're going to be able to do hard things. But I've persevered.
That's awesome. One thing I really want to teach my kids is like some sort of emotional stamina, right? Like, I feel like
they call it grit.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Like there's this tendency I see why you want to do it. Like, give in to things or like let them push boundaries and be like, oh, okay, I'll let you have that. Or like, especially when you have a kid who has like special needs, you're like, oh, their life is hard in many other ways. Like, why not just let them do X, Y, Z? But like, if you're doing that, you're doing them a disservice because you're not teaching them that. And I'm like, I need to keep doing that and keep doing a better job at it. Because my kids are also like pretty sensitive, which is great. I tell them like, it's great that you are in touch with your emotions and that you feel your feelings and like, that's awesome. But also like, you got to feel your feelings while you keep on going. You can't just stop every minute to like, have a little cry. You got to feel those feelings, be in touch with your feelings, but you got to push through. So,
yeah. They say this generation is missing grit. And I couldn't agree more. I found a really good question here as our final.
Okay.
But, so one before the final.
Oh, okay.
Someone sent in,
guys. Okay.
And I don't know if I should be offended or if this is for you. So,
okay. Should I be offended?
We're going to find out. How do you feel about your wrinkles? Well, that's rude as hell. I know they ain't talking to me. I don't have no wrinkles. You got wrinkles, P?
Too many wrinkles.
No?
I mean, I've been pretty blessed with like good skin.
Oh, God. Here we go. I've been blessed. Hashtag blessed. Just stop. So you don't have any wrinkles because you're perfect.
Smile lines. I have some wrinkles.
Smile lines is a wrinkle, is it not?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm saying I have a few.
All right, you got wrinkles.
I don't think I have a ton of wrinkles. I don't feel any way about them. They don't bother me. But you know what has started to bother me? The like loose skin under my chin. Like that little like waddle that starts, it's like wrinkly loose skin. I do not feel good about that.
It's one of those things that it's really cute on a dog.
Right.
My dog has a gobble. We call it a gobble, and I just sort of flick it back and forth. And it's like, but as a human, it's not as cute. You're right.
No one's been flicking mine.
Oh, you keep your sex life to yourself, please. So now I forgot how do I feel about my wrinkles? Okay, well, you know what, Deborah, I'm going to need you to calm down and not send me these kinds of questions. It feels very personal, but just so you know, I hate my wrinkles and I think I need Botox. How do you feel about that?
I feel fine about it. I mean, it's expensive, right? And you got to keep, it's like I feel like to me, it's like another thing on the to-do list. One of the reasons I don't dye my hair is I don't want to have to go to the salon, get it touched up every 6 weeks, so I'm just embracing the gray for right now. I don't have a ton, so that's easy for me to say, maybe I'll change my tune. But yeah, the Botox just seems like another thing you have to maintain.
Yeah, but it takes like 5 minutes. Like,
I know, you got to make the appointment. You got to show up there. You got to,
Yeah, you make the appointment. You show up there. You've got it so far. And right now we're at about a minute and a half.
I mean, does it hurt?
No, it doesn't hurt. It doesn't feel like anything. And you go in and literally it takes maybe 5 minutes and then you're out the door. Like, it's not like a full on appointment with like a meeting and like a conversation. They're just like, hey, you look rough right here. Let's put some in here. And I was like, well, that's not what I came for, but I'll take it. Thank you. Evidently, I need to take care of that.
Someone should develop a drive-up Botox place where you don't even have to get out of your car. I mean, if it's that fast.
Let's backtrack here. You don't do things because they take too much time. This has led me down a lot of roads, some of which I probably don't want to discuss on this show, but the viewers want to know, do you shave your legs?
Oh, I do shave my legs.
Oh, yes. Okay. Well, I just, it takes time. It takes time daily. Yeah. And so I'm just wondering.
It's fair. It gets itchy if not. I feel like it's itchy on my pants.
Okay.
I don't like that feeling.
Okay. Yeah. So hairy legs, no go. Wrinkles, yes. No. Yes, please.
Well, again, since I don't have very many wrinkles yet, I feel like I can't answer the question.
So the question was for me, is what you're saying. Okay, that's fine. I think that all of my wrinkles are from laughing. I mean, that's like legit, right? Like, isn't that? Thank you.
Yeah.
And so I want to look at them and find joy in how much I've laughed in my life. Like, I want to look at them and be like, oh, it's cute because it means you've laughed a lot. But it doesn't feel like that. It feels like I need Botox. So I don't know.
Yeah. I think both things can be true, right? You can appreciate the laughter you've had in your life, but also not like the way they look. And that's fine.
Yeah. And it's not that I don't like the way that they look, I guess. It's more that I think I equate it with being old. It's like, it's a visual reminder for me that I'm old.
Right. Like it's like because I have this, like in my brain, I don't feel old. And so like when you see it, it's like a confirmation of something that like you don't feel all the time inside.
Correct.
Mentally. Yeah.
Correct.
Yep.
Okay. We really hashed that one out. All right.
We did.
Final. This is a good one to end on.
Okay.
What are you looking forward to or most excited about in this next decade of your life?
Oh, wow. That is a good one. Okay. So in 10 years, I'll be 54. I don't know. I mean, there's something like, okay, so when I was in my 20s, and I was like really career driven and really like wanting people to see me as successful, I was really excited to turn 30 because I thought like people were going to take me more seriously. Like I was like, oh, there's something different about saying I'm 28 versus I'm 30. Like I thought like, oh, people are going to think I'm like a real professional now. And I kind of feel that way about turning 50. Like I'm sort of looking forward to it in a way of like, now I'm like a real adult. Like maybe I'm going to feel like a real adult in the next decade.
You don't feel like one now? You parent children and a husband.
I do feel like one in many, many ways. But in other ways, I do kind of feel like I keep waiting for someone else to show up who's going to be in charge.
Really? It's me.
Yeah,
I'm coming.
A little bit.
I'll tell you how to do everything.
Please. I'll let you take over. You're good at things.
I would say in the next decade of my life, I am looking forward to dramatic pause. It's funny that I haven't given this a lot of thought.
No, me either.
Yeah. Like, I want to say retiring.
It should be empty nesting.
Right. Well, I will be that. Yeah, I will be empty nesting, hopefully. I want to say retiring. In my younger years, I would have thought that I could have it together enough to retire by 50 or 53, but now I'm going to work until I'm 93. So they're going to carry me out of my job, dead in a body bag, probably. Because I'm going to be, but I'm not going to let that happen. I am determined to make sure that I live a good life now and still plan to live a good life later, and not the kind of person who works until they die. Like I don't want to save a bunch of money for retirement and end up dying at 62, and like what was the point? So yeah, I mean, I think I would say in the next decade, I look forward to having potentially my last job. Like I think about.
Oh yeah, that's exciting.
Yeah, like maybe not last, but like, and like career wise, yeah, I'd like to like make my big career move or my big job change or the big move out of this state to like the place where I want to be for a while and finish my career somewhere, I look forward to that, that I find that opportunity. And yeah.
I love that. I really have to think about this. That's a great question. I don't know what I'm looking forward to. You get so stuck in the day to day, it's hard to like look forward like that. I like to think about that.
Yeah, I feel like when you were
whoever asked that question. It's a good one.
I feel like when you were 20, you were doing a lot of looking forward.
Always, yeah. So different.
And then you get to a stage in your life where it just feels like you're just doing the thing every day. Like it's just
And we talked about that before because everything, I have such better memories of my 20s versus my 30s. And I think we determined that it's probably one of the reasons is like you're doing something different all the time. Where in your 30s, you're kind of getting up, doing the same thing. Not that your life's boring, but just like there's not as many big moments to sort of recall. And so I bet that feels like that's the same. Like in your 20s, you're always looking ahead to the future because it's like everything you're doing or everything I was doing was in preparation for the future. And now I'm like living that future, so I haven't thought about what's next.
I do think when I was talking earlier about midlife crisis, one of the things it said was boredom and lack of fulfillment. And I could see that, in your 20s or 30s, you're having all these new experiences. Even in your earlier 30s, maybe you're having your first kid or, you're getting your first parakeet or whatever. And I could see how people get bored and just think like the only way to fix it is to do something wild and radical. Because sometimes I admittedly feel bored with the day-to-day kind of like grind. And I can see why people are like, let me buy a sports car and jump out of an airplane to see if I can, trigger some excitement. And I do think I could see how life gets dull if you don't continue to focus on yourself and what you need and what you want so that you're not bored, so that you don't have to do wild, manic, reckless things to keep yourself entertained.
Yeah, that makes sense. I like it.
That was like a I checked out while you were talking response. And
no, I did that.
Speaking of bored, you are bored of what I'm saying. It's fine.
I did not check out.
Okay.
I always listen to you.
Okay. You have been fixing your hair for the entirety of this call, and I just want you to know it looks great. So you can stop now. Okay. Well, I think we got through a lot of questions. I only have a few here that we didn't get to, and we should save those for a rainy day. Some of them are things we've discussed before, like someone asked about friendships in your middle age and things like that. So I appreciate everybody who took the time to send some stuff in so that we could share our wealth of knowledge with you. You're going to leave this episode a smarter, more well-informed person who doesn't piss themselves out of Walgreens.
I don't know about that. Let's not get too crazy.
No, not you. The listeners. Okay. There is no hope for you. Yeah. That ship is sailed. So. Oh, Peeps. Thank you.
Okay, wait.
Okay. Yeah. You
this
run
was
this
really
show.
Fun. I loved it. I wanted to say one more thing though.
Okay. Do it.
I saw also on your Instagram, us hot flashbackers have been doing this. You've been doing this for 1 year, and I wanted to say congratulations.
Thank you. Yeah, I appreciate that. I don't appreciate when you call yourself a hot flashbacker, but that's okay. Yeah, and so I'm actually giving away some Starbucks gift cards next week to anybody who likes my page and shares the story. But I also just want to share a quick little tidbit, and that is that I have my ADD tells me that I need more dopamine all the time. And one of the ways that I get dopamine is by buying these palettes at palette auctions. I get a lot of excitement from like getting the palette and taking all this stuff out and figuring out how to sell it and figuring out what I can keep and how much money I can make and blah, blah, blah. It's like a whole thing. So I don't do it all the time. Like it's not like a side hustle, but it's like I'm bored. I'm going to buy a pallet and flip it. And then I make like, I don't know, anywhere from like $500 to $1,800 on it. It takes time and effort. But anyway, so the last pallet that I bought, a lot of times stores are liquidating product that they can no longer sell. And so in December or January, if you buy a pallet, you're likely to get things from the summer that they couldn't sell, like, swimming pool toys or bathing suits or fans or things that in December, they're not going to sell anymore. And they need to move that product off the shelf, liquidate it so they can bring in more stuff. Right. So I bought a pallet in February. And on the pallet was 11 fans. 11 fans.
Like ceiling fans?
No, like tower fans and desk fans, okay. Like just fans. Like some, like I got a few that were like the big kind that you put in your garage or shop when it just, and then some that are like tower fans and some that are like smart fans. And okay, so lots of fans. And, it was suggested to me that I give away one of these fans as a prize to help with your hot flashes.
Hot flashes, yes.
Yeah. So if someone local wins, I could give them a fan for their hot flashes
versus the Starbucks card. Okay.
And it's probably worth more than the Starbucks card. I'm just putting it out there.
It is. Yeah. Okay.
You're not local. I think
that's a great idea.
Yeah, but you're not local, so you're not winning a fan.
But I do need a fan because I've been having some hot flashes.
I know you do. You need to get one of those like things that you put on your neck, and it's got like the two fans that point up. I see people with them at like amusement parks. Okay, so you invest in that.
It would go really good with my orthotic tennis shoes.
Yeah. I mean, if you're gonna do it, just do it. Yeah.
Yeah, do it up.
All right, so. At the end of next week, giving away some Starbucks cards and for one lucky person, a fan.
Maybe a fan.
Yeah.
Nice.
Awesome. P, thanks for being here.
I love you.
We're still on the air. P, thanks for being here.
Oh, I'm so glad to be here. It was great.
Thank you. This is Hot Flashbacks. We're out. Peeps.